Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 120 based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng's mind moved, and the huge world life form split into two. The main clone possessed 56 times the energy reserve of a perfect divine body, and the world inside the body contained the lotus of life. Let's see my strongest strength without using the secret treasure. Luo Feng thought. The tremendous power contained in the main clone instantly operated completely according to the secret method. The endless power was naturally transformed into blood-colored power. In the blink of an eye, a huge blood-colored river appeared, covering every corner of this level of the Star Tower. It is, theoretically, infinitely vast. Once you fall into this endless blood-red river, you will never reach the end. Only by having strength that transcends the blood-red river can you escape from it. Is this the secret method of the 8-branch fusion, River of Life? In the endless blood-red river, a figure of Luo Feng condensed. In fact, this endless blood-red river is Luo Feng's main clone. The condensed figure is actually a wisp of power condensation, which is not important. Boom boom tilde. In Luo Feng's perception, this blood-red river is actually a world of its own, and the rules of operation of this world are actually a super-simplified version of blood-red scales. From this moment on, Luo Feng's secret method has a little bit of the fur of blood-red scales. But the power is already unimaginable. Deep in the blood river of life, there is a huge lotus of life. When Luo Feng's clone transformed into the form of the river of life, the lotus of life also became the core of the river of life, greatly enhancing the power of the river of life. With the blessing of the lotus of life, the river of life will completely erupt. Luo Feng thought of this, and suddenly a river of blood surged. The heaven and earth seemed to turn upside down. The endless river of blood submerged everything and annihilated everything. Luo Feng frowned slightly. Supreme rules. When unleashing the might of the river of life at full force, Luo Feng felt the vague constraints of the supreme rules. The strength of the river of life is not far from the upper limit set by the supreme rule. I feel that if it is increased by another 30% or 40%, it will reach this upper limit. Luo Feng was a little surprised. I am only at the second level of the God King realm. I haven't even used the secret treasure yet. With his own spiritual consciousness, he controlled the world life form with 56 times the energy of a perfect divine body, performed the 8-branch secret method of the river of life, and then blessed it with the rare lotus of life. He was actually not far from the upper limit of the power of the origin continent. The lotus of life is almost as valuable as a secret treasure that surpasses the God King level. Luo Feng realized this. Without this rare treasure, I'm afraid the 9-branch secret technique will only reach its upper limit. The secret method of the 6 branches of life and death is an ultimate technique comparable to ordinary great Taos. The power of the 7-branch secret technique has undergone a transformation. Last time, Luo Feng used it to suppress the clone of the world beast of Heavenly Wood Kingdom. The 8-branch secret technique is even more powerful. The horror of the fusion road is gradually becoming apparent. This is even before using the Star Tower, and we are very close to the upper limit agreed upon by the supreme rules. Try the power of the Star Tower. As soon as Luo Feng thought about it, power surged into the deep secret patterns of the Star Tower and began to drive countless secret patterns. The secrets that Luo Feng comprehended, including the latest 8-branch secret, River of Life, are all part of Luo Feng's gains from comprehending the secret patterns of the Star Tower. They are moves that can be performed out of thin air. With the help of the Star Tower, Luo Feng can activate a secret pattern that he has already comprehended. The range of the driven secret pattern far exceeds that of the 8-branch moves. Boom boom tilde tilde. Deep in the mighty blood-red river, a shadow of blood-red scales appeared faintly. The power of the entire blood-red river surged sharply, and instantly touched the upper limit agreed upon by the supreme rules of the origin continent. It would be fine if the power had reached its upper limit, but under the blood-colored rivers formed by driving the Star Tower, each river was like a world, endless and heavy, with many abilities such as suppression, imprisonment, crushing, infiltration, penetration, and strangulation. All the characteristics of the 6-branch secret method, the 7-branch secret method, and the 8-branch secret method that Luo Feng had comprehended before now exist in this river, and merge into one. The supreme rules limit the power of the Star Tower. Luo Feng's figure appeared on the surface of this mighty blood-red river. When the power reaches its upper limit, the competition will be about the subtlety of the moves. Same power, different mystery, different might. Luo Feng noticed this. The power of using the Star Tower and not using the Star Tower seems to be only 30% to 40% different. But after using the Star Tower, the terrifying degree of each river has changed qualitatively, and it feels 10 times stronger. I can feel that even my own world life form with 10 times the energy reserve will be corroded and annihilated in a breath in front of the blood river transformed by the Star Tower. Luo Feng thought to himself, even if those emperors and monarchs use super powerful secret treasures, how long can they last in front of the might of the Star Tower? No wonder the 2 great ancestors were able to intimidate the beasts of the Heavenly Wood Kingdom and the Lord of 10,000 Realms. Luo Feng understood. Even if it is just the upper limit of power, the transcendent realm can still be extremely terrifying. If the Flame Wind ancestor took action, he could destroy all the avatars and resurrection carriers of the Zongfu God King. However, the Zongfu God King had some special adventures, and had special avatars that could avoid the tracking of the Flame Wind ancestor. After comprehending the secret method of the 8 branches, Luo Feng devoted himself more carefully to comprehending the materials of the corpses of the chaotic origin bloodline, and used them to comprehend the secret patterns of the Star Tower. Suddenly one day, Luo Feng, who was practicing, opened his eyes. Morosa finally broke through. Morosa's slowly increasing aura finally stabilized completely. At this moment, the aura strength was undoubtedly at the level of an emperor or monarch. This was a newly broke-through world beast, and he still needed to continue to absorb the energy of heaven and earth to grow his divine body to its limit. By then, his physical body would be even more terrifying. Luo Feng came to the level of the Star Tower that was exclusive to Morosa. Master. Morosa's aura was heavy and terrifying, an endless aura of destruction was spreading in this layer of space. These auras of destruction were centered on Morosa, as if they wanted to destroy everything. Have you mastered the complete path of destruction? Luo Feng looked at the aura of destruction that naturally spread around him. This aura was much stronger than that of the God King Zongfu, Emperor Jiufeng, and others. Without the help of any treasures, the peak world beasts are indeed much stronger than the Emperor and his men. I, Morosa, have finally made a breakthrough. Morosa was very excited. I have finally become a peak world beast. As soon as I made a breakthrough, I naturally comprehended a destruction great Tao body. Now I just need to absorb energy. In about an epoch, my destruction great Tao body will grow to its strongest level. The destruction great Tao body? Luo Feng was curious. The destruction great Tao body has the 3 aspects of the great Tao of destruction, although its vitality is not as strong as that of the great Tao of life and other paths. But in terms of destruction, it is extremely strong. Morosa said excitedly, I have also naturally comprehended 36 ultimate realm secrets, and the secrets can be coordinated. I don't need any treasures, I have the confidence to fight those emperors and monarchs. They just rely on super powerful secret treasures. Morosa was quite disdainful. In terms of realm and strength, they are far inferior to me. You are very powerful now? Luo Feng said with a smile, then show me your moves. Morosa smiled awkwardly, Master, I accidentally hurt you. It's okay, this is just one of my clones. It won't matter to me if you kill it. Luo Feng said with a smile. Master, this is what you said Morosa. Luo Feng nodded slightly. The most powerful person he had encountered so far was the woman in purple robe. However, in order to hide her true identity, the woman in purple robe did not use some tricks that could reveal her identity, which affected her strength to a certain extent. At this moment, Morosa's destruction great Tao body had just been transformed and had not yet grown to its strongest form. Luo Feng was still very interested in competing with an ultimate being. Master, be careful. Morosa stood there, stretched out a finger and tapped lightly. At this point, However, it pried open the complete Great Tao of Destruction within the Supreme Rules. A little bit of power pried open the entire Great Tao of Destruction, and in an instant, all kinds of destructive forces descended and enveloped Luo Feng's clone. Of course, Morosa also limited the scope of his power and only attacked this clone of his master. Complete Great Tao of Destruction? Luo Feng felt it. After all, he was also at the second level of the God King in terms of the Great Tao of Destruction, and could understand some of the mysteries of this move. He felt that Morosa's move was indeed mysterious, and that a little bit of power could unleash such a strong force. His clone, which had 10 times the energy reserve of a perfect divine body, was unable to dodge and had to take the attack head-on. If it was an ordinary second-level God King, he would be annihilated in front of Morosa with just one finger. But Luo Feng only had a minor injury and recovered in the blink of an eye. Morosa, this amount of power is not enough. Luo Feng looked at Morosa with a smile. As an ultimate being, show me some powerful moves. Huh? Morosa's face changed slightly, but he felt something was wrong. Although I only used an ordinary move, I also moved the entire avenue. Did the master recover while he was injured? Master, this time I'm going to use some really powerful moves, so you have to be careful. Morosa looked at Luo Feng. Let's start. Luo Feng said. Morosa nodded. In an instant, Morosa split into 18 clones. 18 Morosa scattered in different directions of the vast space, each performing a different ultimate secret technique. At this moment, 18 ultimate secret techniques burst out instantly, and the might was not just the superposition of 18, but a perfect coordination with each other, and the degree of mystery was a qualitative change. Boom! This terrifying power gathered and concentrated at one point, instantly exploding inside Luo Feng's body. Luo Feng's body was instantly torn into pieces, with many holes appearing on it. In an instant, more than half of Luo Feng's body disappeared. But the terrifying vitality recovered from nothingness, and Luo Feng's body quickly recovered in the blink of an eye, but his breath was obviously weaker. Huff, huff, huff. Morosa's breath became weaker. Looking at Luo Feng, he couldn't help but ask, Master, do you think your clone has not suffered much damage? A 30% loss. Luo Feng said. Under Morosa's terrifying move, Luo Feng's clone lost 3 perfect divine body energy reserves, which also surprised Luo Feng. Morosa's explosive power was much stronger than that of the purple-robed woman. Of course, in the deep area of the dream realm, he used his mental will to target the purple-robed woman, so that she could only exert part of her strength. Master, wait until my destruction Great Tao body grows to its peak, then we'll compete again. Morosa was quite unconvinced. Can your moves be more sophisticated? Luo Feng asked. There's nothing I can do. Morosa shook his head. I grew up to be a peak world beast, so I naturally comprehended the destruction Great Tao body and the 36 ultimate secrets. These are the best secrets bestowed upon me by the Supreme Rules. Even if I comprehend them myself, it is unlikely that I will make much progress. The Supreme Rules are in operation, and the secret methods naturally bestowed upon world beasts are the most suitable for them. If your moves can't be better, then there's no point in competing. Luo Feng shook his head. He felt a little distressed at the loss of 3 perfect divine body energy reserves at once. If I had known earlier, I would have let a more powerful clone to compete, so that the loss would have been much less. After this exchange, Luo Feng also understood that in the future, when facing emperors and monarchs with a set of super-powerful secret treasures in the outside world, it would be safer to act with the strongest form of his clone. The primordial universe area, Luo Feng's miniature universe. Luo Feng's miniature universe is the same size as the original universe and is already the holy land of the human race. Under a big tree, Luo Feng was waiting alone. It's time for the human race's strong men to come to the origin continent. Luo Feng thought. With the Star Tower in hand, he would not be afraid even if the ancestors of the 2 ancient countries came in person. Moreover, Morosa has also reached the ultimate realm, the Great Way is perfect, and he is not afraid of calculations. Although I am strong, I am not good at karma, destiny, etc., and I am easily plotted against. It would be fine if I were alone. However, if the strong human beings want to break through the reincarnation and return to the origin continent, they must be careful. Otherwise, if any of Chaos City Lord and his men died, Luo Feng would not be able to forgive himself. Whoosh! 6 figures appeared together and came closer. Luo Feng. Milky Way. They looked at Luo Feng one by one. Luo Feng. The primal Chaos City leader was full of joy. You said that the strong men of the human race can break through the reincarnation, so I summoned these 5 old friends. The 6 of us are confident that we can break through to a higher level. Thank you for your help, teacher. Luo Feng said with a smile. The 6 people in front of him were the primal Chaos City leader, True God Pengong, True God Darkness, True God Desolation, True God Ice Summit, and True God Dragon Walk. These were all powerful beings in the early days of mankind. They could become true gods if they got a little bit of resources. With the help of Luo Feng and Ancestor Yuan, the 6 of them are confident that they can break through to the level of Void True God. The Darkness True God with a cold aura said, there are more than 100 true gods in the human race. Now there are enough inheritances. There should be more than 6 of us who are confident of breakthroughs. Going to a strange place through reincarnation is always risky. There is no need to do it all at once, said the primal Chaos City leader. Teacher, what you said makes sense. Luo Feng agreed. Even the 6 of you, I think you should be divided into 2 groups. Wait until the first group has adapted, and then the second group can go. Luo Feng, you decide. The 6 of them were all very clear that they knew nothing about the world after reincarnation, and were all willing to listen to Luo Feng's arrangements. After spending so many years together, they naturally trusted Luo Feng. The first group, Teacher, Uncle Darkness, and Mr. Peng, you 3 will set off first. After some time, the second group will set off. Luo Feng said. The primal Chaos City leader, True God Pengong, True God Darkness, are the entire human race, second only to Luo Feng and the Ancestor Yuan. Good. The 6 people present were looking forward to it. Even the True God's Desolation, Ice Summit, and Dragon Walk who were in the second batch were not in a hurry. It was obvious that Luo Feng meant that the time difference between the 2 batches was not far, and they had enough patience. Teacher, then the 3 of you should break through first. After the breakthrough, you can take the same flying secret treasure to break through the reincarnation. This way you can reach the same area. Luo Feng said that the primal Chaos City leader, True God Pengong, and True God Darkness had long been looking forward to the world at the other end of the reincarnation channel. They soon began to break through, and their miniature universes began to expand. This scene naturally aroused the envy of other races in the primordial universe, but in the primordial universe region, the absolute strength of the human race is beyond doubt. After all, seeing the Milky Way miniature universe which is as big as the original universe, other races have no intention of resisting at all. After the breakthrough, the primal Chaos City leader, Peng Gong, and all boarded the same secret flying boat and quietly went to break into the reincarnation channel. Continent of Origin. In Huyang City, Luo Feng had been waiting for a long time. Here it comes. Suddenly Luo Feng realized that 3 lives with whom he had a deep karma relationship had come to the origin continent. Primal Chaos City leader and the other 3 were at a lower level, so under Luo Feng's causal observation, they were naturally defenseless and their positions were instantly locked. Whoosh! Luo Feng's thought flashed with a black light, and he had already crossed most of the origin continent and arrived at a wilderness. This was the border area of the ancient Thunder Kingdom. Luo Feng stood in the wilderness, smiling at the Chaos City Lord, Peng Gong, and Darkness, who had just arrived at the origin continent. At this moment, Luo Feng hid his figure and was not in a hurry to show up. Let the teachers and others experience the origin continent. Luo Feng watched with a smile. Is this the world at the other end of the reincarnation channel? The primal Chaos City leader and other 3 were excitedly feeling the surroundings. What a powerful world, the space is very stable and the pressure is very high. The true gods probably can't fly without external aid. Peng Gong said with emotion, and the laws of heaven and earth are so clear, many times clearer than my hometown. It is indeed much easier to cultivate here than back home. The Primal Chaos City leader also showed a happy expression. There is hope that we can reach a higher level. Darkness felt it and compared it with the incarnation far away in his hometown. The speed of time is also different. Only 1 unit of time has passed here, but 10,081 times of time has passed in my hometown. Peng Gong crushed a piece of stone and sighed. In such an environment, everything in the world is extraordinary. Even ordinary stones in our hometown can be used to make weapons and secret treasures. The three of them were curiously exploring the extraordinary features of the continent of origin. After a moment, Luo Feng showed up. Luo Feng. The of them looked at Luo Feng in surprise. This world is so vast, how could you find this place so quickly? Master Peng was surprised. This endless world is called the Origin Continent. Luo Feng said with a smile, and at the same time 3 streams of light flew towards Primal Chaos City leader, Peng Gong, and Darkness. This is more detailed information about the Origin Continent. I will take you to Huyang City now, and the ancestor Yuan is waiting for you there. Above Huyang City, the Primal Chaos City leader, Peng Gong, and Darkness appeared out of nowhere, staring at the huge city in front of them in a daze. So many powerful beings. 3 of them such Primal Chaos City leader were somewhat shocked. Today, Huyang City, as the headquarters of Blade River Sect, commands 155 Chaos States. Huyang City had naturally been expanded a long time ago. The length of the city wall was 10 times longer than when Luo Feng first came to the Origin Continent, and the area of the city was naturally much larger. God kings like Luo Feng and Morosa live here, as well as many Chaos Realm people and a large number of core disciples of Blade River Sect. It is full of powerful people. Luo Feng established the Blade River Sect in the Origin Continent. The ancestor Yuan appeared on the side. Teacher? The Primal Chaos City leader and Darkness both bowed respectfully. Ancestor Yuan. Peng Gong was also extremely respectful. The ancestor Yuan smiled and explained, this Huyang City is the headquarters of Blade River Sect. There are tens of trillions of true gods in the city, more than 1 billion void true gods, more than 10,000 eternal true gods, several Chaos Realm, and of course Luo Feng, the God King. Even if we look at the entire Origin Continent, Huyang City can be considered a first-class city, said the ancestor Yuan. The Primal Chaos City leader, Peng Gong, and Darkness were all confused after hearing what they heard. They had just become the Void True God and were quite proud of it. Who would have thought that in Huyang City, the Void True God could exceed 1 billion? As long as the creatures of the Origin Continent grow normally, they can generally become true gods. So there are countless true gods. Luo Feng said, it is countless times more difficult for a true god to appear in our primordial universe. Luo Feng and ancestor Yuan personally led the way, taking Primal Chaos City leader, Peng Gong, and Darkness to have a meal in Huyang City, and also learned about the prosperity of the Origin Continent. There is nothing strange. There are so many different schools of practice that it's dizzying. The Primal Chaos City leader, Peng Gong, and Darkness were all shocked. The disciples of Blade River Sect are divided into ordinary disciples, core disciples, Luo Feng's registered disciples, and Luo Feng's personal disciples. Ancestor Yuan said, after you 3 joined Blade River Sect, you are nominally my disciples. The Primal Chaos City leader and Darkness were both disciples of the ancestor Yuan, so naturally they had no objection. Peng Gong also worshipped the ancestor Yuan and was willing to do so. Luo Feng watched from the side. It can't be helped, there is a teacher, an uncle, and a senior Peng Gong. Although in Blade River Sect, the status of his own disciples is the most precious, he cannot accept them as his disciples. It would be very appropriate to let the ancestor Yuan come forward. The ancestor Yuan has a high enough status in Blade River Sect, and the status of his direct disciples is different from that of ordinary core disciples. Luo Feng and I have discussed that the cultivation resources you 3 have are of the highest level. They are 1 level higher than Luo Feng's direct disciples. Ancestor Yuan said, as long as the human race has come back to the Origin Continent through reincarnation, they are all of the highest level. Luo Feng nodded. In the future, as the strong men of the human race rise, Blade River Sect will gradually be allowed to manage many affairs. You also know that there are countless crises in the origin continent. The ancestor Yuan looked at them. I only have one request for you. Before you become the eternal true God, you are not allowed to leave Huyang City. Understand? Yes, teacher. All three of them responded decisively. Huyang City was already dazzling to them, enough for them to explore. Moreover, there are over 1 billion void true gods and over 10,000 eternal true gods in one city. They also know that if they go out to venture out, they may fall into trouble if they are not careful. The Blade River Sect headquarters has 3 small caves built next to the original ancestral cave. You will live here from now on. I will be fully responsible for your cultivation. The ancestor Yuan looked at the primal Chaos City leader, Peng Gong, and Darkness. Yes, teacher. The 3 of them responded. Take a rest today and start planning your practice tomorrow. The ancestor gave the order and turned to leave. The primal Chaos City leader, Peng Gong, and Darkness first gathered in the primal Chaos City leader's cave. Unfathomable. The water in the origin continent is too deep. The 3 of them received detailed intelligence about the origin continent from Luo Feng. Because the information was so vast, they were only able to understand it in detail at this moment. There are many kingdoms in the origin continent, various forces both overt and covert, information on each chaos realm, and information on each god king. Although these are all basic information, Luo Feng also provided a copy of the brief intelligence on the emperors and monarchs. Huyang City is also very inconspicuous in the entire origin continent. Some big cities in the 2 ancient kingdoms were even more prosperous than this. The God King is divided into 3 realms, God King Level 1, God King Level 2, and God King Ultimate Realm. The 2 ancient countries actually have 13 emperors and 9 monarchs. And 2 ancestors. Luo Feng is also very scary. He has actually reached the peak of the 2nd level of the God King realm. He is only slightly weaker than the emperors and monarchs. Luo Feng has only been in origin continent for a short time, but he has come this far. There are 2 ancient kingdoms, 3 first-rate forces, and 5 idle cultivators who can rival the emperor. Then it is Luo Feng's turn. After they learned the intelligence, they felt that their own forces were still quite strong. Although it is far from being comparable to the 2 ancient kingdoms, it is still the absolute dominant force on the edge of the origin continent. This video will end here.